I just don't see any way that we're going to have humans persistent on this planet for much longer. Methane is one among dozens of self-reinforcing feedback loops reported by the scientific community. Arctic Ocean methane release was initially reported in geophysical research letters in August of 2009, and the reports came subsequently from Science, geophysical research letters. Again, Global Policy, in which a paper from September 2012 concluded the release of methane from the Arctic Ocean was irreversible. Finally, the scientific referee journal water community is catching up with reality. Nature consequently supported on this event, and NASA's CARVE project in July of 2013 reported methane plumes up to 150 kilometers across in the Arctic Ocean. That's a lot of methane bubbling out of the Arctic Ocean. Nature Geoscience tags on the paper in November 2013. This is one self-reinforcing feedback loop. Originally reported in 2009, there were an additional 4 reported in 2011, 6 in 2012, 17 each in 2013 and 2014, and a couple reported so far in 2015, giving a total of 47 irreversible self-reinforcing feedback loops. Taking into account one of those, the release of methane from the Arctic Ocean, Paul Beckwith concluded in November 2014 that the release of methane from the Arctic Ocean will contribute to a 5 to 6 C temperature rise within a decade or two. And that has been triggered, according to his report from late November 2014. He also pondered the idea of a 16 C temperature rise, while pointing out that that would be starting with the previous ice age. So he's really talking about somewhere between 5 and 12 C temperature rise, global average, relative to where we are right now, occurring within a span of a decade or two. So finally the mention of the methane comes into play. So whereas we could have human extinction as a result of collapse of industrial civilization and the subsequent release of that 50 gigaton burst of methane from beneath the Arctic Ocean, maybe we won't. That takes us to 3.5 C above baseline. And in general, the scientific community seems to agree that it will take 4 C above baseline for humans to go extinct. Well, we don't have a lot of data on human extinction yet, so it's hard to say whether it's going to take 3.55 C or 4 C, but I'm absolutely certain that 5 or 6 C above baseline is going to do the trick. You know, if it occurs in the relatively short period of time that we're talking about, simply because the other species that comprise our habitat will be unable to keep up. Farley Moat, the writer and sometime philosopher, has a quote that comes to mind. We're under some gross misconception that we're a good species going somewhere important, and then to the last minute we'll correct our errors and God will smile on us. It's delusion. I think that's right. We always think that we can take things right to the brink and then turn it around. I think at this point with Thelma and Louise, and the brink is behind us, the car is already over the cliff. God is not smiling on us, and we're still deluded. As it turns out, I'm not the only crazy person on the planet. There are, in this list, 14 men and 3 women who also believe we're headed for near-term human extinction. Now, all of them conclude that it's a result of climate change, although several of them do. And some of them put dates as early or earlier than the ones I've indicated here. So, the big question is, now what? I frequently am asked, what shall I do? And so, what shall we do? I have some really good news. We get to die. And it might sound like bad news, because all we ever hear from this culture is that death is to be put off at every cost. But in fact, that we get to live, and therefore to die, ensures us of an incredibly unique experience. We know enough about DNA to know that the odds against any of us being here at any point in history is truly cosmological. The odds against us being here exceed the odds against plucking a single atom from the universe at random. We know enough about DNA to understand how rare it is to come together in physical form, in this physical form, in my physical form. And so we know enough to know that we get to die is an enormous gift. As evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins points out, in the teeth of these stupefying odds, it is you and I that are privileged to be here. Privileged with eyes to see where we are and brains to wonder why. It's, if I believed in miracles, a miracle that each of us is here. And I don't think the typical human response to the fact that we get to die is exhibited in this cartoon, which shows an old person on a deathbed talking to their son, or it's hard to tell, daughter, talking to somebody younger than them and indicating, I should have bought more crap. I don't think anybody, when they go into the abyss, is thinking, man, if I had 17 more pairs of shoes, I'd have been truly happy. I don't think that's the case at all. Rather, what I encourage is a couple of pursuits. I encourage people to identify what they love. And because this culture spends so much time having us ponder the future and not pondering what we love, serving this culture and serving the machine that is this culture instead of identifying what we love and pursuing that. And also because this culture does not pursue a life of excellence. Those are the two things that I encourage that you probably haven't heard before, that maybe you haven't given a lot of thought to, is identifying what you actually love in this world, in this one physical universe that you get to experience in your one short life. And also the pursuit of excellence, however you define that. For me, the pursuit of excellence is similar to that of Socrates. Socrates pursued a life of excellence throughout his adult life by asking 6 fundamental questions in various forms. He just walked around and asked people these 6 questions. What is courage? What is good? What is justice? What is moderation? What is piety? What is virtue? I don't ask those questions, but I ask questions that are similar. I ask questions like, what is love? And what is excellence? And what does excellence mean to you? What do you love? What do you think you ought to pursue in light of the fact that your life is short, that all of our lives are short? There's a great line from Tony Gaskins Jr. that goes like this with respect to excellence. The closer you get to excellence in your life, the more friends you'll lose. People love you when you're average because it makes them comfortable. But when you pursue greatness, it makes people uncomfortable. Be prepared to lose some people on your journey. If your journey truly is one of excellence, I can guarantee you that you will lose a lot of your friends and colleagues, because we are a society dominated by mediocrity. We pursue mediocrity as if it's some sort of global good. In this culture, absurdly, quantity has become the only quality that we truly pursue. We want more, 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 without really questioning more of what. We just want more of everything, even if it means more crap, even if it means 17 more pairs of shoes. Let's pursue excellence, which might, in fact, involve less. An absurd notion in this culture, I'll admit. I enjoy this little cartoon too. First frame has a young person talking to an elder, a wise fortune teller with a crystal ball between them. And she says, I see a time when peace shall reign throughout the world. And he responds, I bet the people are happy. And she says, I don't see any people. Yes, maybe that's exactly where we're headed, is to a time of peace on this planet. And maybe we should go down with some sort of grace, some sort of respect for ourselves and the living planet, for the other species with which we share this most wondrous of planets, instead of going down fighting, which seems to be the typical approach. I get this question a lot, what if he's wrong? In fact, it's frequently not posed as a question, it's just he's wrong as a statement. And so what if I am wrong? By the way, so what if I have accumulated all these data and all these projections and all these models? What if the International Energy Agency, conservative organization, is wrong about 6C by 2050? What if Paul Beckwith is wrong about 5 to 6 degrees sea temperature rise within a decade or two? What if James Hansen and colleagues are wrong about the impacts of global dimming being removed when civilization collapses, we don't experience catastrophic warming. What if, in fact, we're so clever that we can live forever as individuals and species? Well, not quite. Let's assume that we can live forever as a species, that our species will persist forever. But we still know one thing. I still have really good news. We still get to die. Every one of us still gets to die. And what that means is that we get to live. And so I don't think the message is tarnished by the notion that all the models, forecasts, projections, and so forth might in fact be wrong, might in fact be too liberal when all the evidence indicates they're too conservative. Still, every indication is that we all get to die, that we all get to spend one relatively short time on this most wondrous of planets. The world's oldest person turned 117 years old in early March of this year, 2015. And when asked to ponder the last 117 years, she had this short statement to make. It seemed rather short. And I would argue that no matter how long you live, even if it is, and I used to say, even if you live to be 100, but now I'm going to say, even if you live to be 117, apparently it's not very long. It's a short period of time. So with that in mind, let's create those moments that we're going to take in with us into the abyss. Let's create those moments and those memories within us that are good, that create joy, and add to joy-filled lives of others and maybe even ourselves. Let's respect others and ourselves as we head into the abyss that is certain to come, that of our own mortality. Thanks for your rapt attention. If you'd like to pursue this topic and dig into even more information, and I don't know why you would want to learn more about the most catastrophic, devastating news you've ever heard, then there are a couple of books listed on the screen, as well as an essay at my website. That website is guymcpherson.com. Thank you. Thank you especially to Dane for creating the film and finagling the technology so we can actually see it. So we'll take a few minutes, let you write down any questions you might have. And I'll be joined up here in the front row by a couple of the volunteers who are helping me on this tour and more generally in promoting the message. So Mimi Riley and Ariadne Luya will join me up the front here. And for the particularly science-oriented questions that actually deal with climate change, I'll address those. But I frequently get questions that cover other topics, and that parents, for example, might have a lot more to say than I do, because I'm purposely childless. So I'll defer to my colleagues on questions such as those. Question number one, this must be the most important one. What do you think is a responsible way for parents to explain and inform their children of abrupt climate change and help them prepare for the worst? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Mimi, who actually is a parent, is going to take on this question.
So I have a 16-year-old child, and she's grown up with all of this information. And I have a bunch of students in the audience, so y'all know what I teach. And she knows all about abrupt climate change. She knows all of this. But I don't think I would have told her prior to her having the capacity to think in these kinds of ways. So I think that, you know, anything under 14 years old, anything under 14 years of age, I think that they don't have the mental capacity to process this kind of information, and I think that it would be actually cruel to do that. And I think all kids are different, right? So my daughter is totally upfront. She feels like she was born to be some sort of leader, and she's not upset. I mean, she's upset. She's upset about this. But I think that the kids who are alive today, they were born for this. And it's kind of like what Guy was talking about. The chances of us being here right now, today, at this time, this unprecedented time, these kids that are coming in, these kids that are alive today, young adults, they were born for this. And so I think that as they get to a certain age and they're curious about it, I think they need to know about it.